Hi everyone, I'm Sam from Together We. I'm one of the managing directors and also an exercise practitioner. So today's session I want to talk about why we need to eat well. Eating well is part of our daily routine and it's something that we have control over to kind of help us keep constant. So firstly, we need to eat well because it's important to keep healthy and maintain our well-being. We need to fuel ourselves effectively throughout the day. And if we eat the wrong types of foods, it can affect certain things such as our mood. If we eat too much, it can affect our weight and also our health. We also need to drink enough water to hydrate our body, and I'm going to talk about water in a minute of how much we need. It's really important to note that not everybody has the ability to have a brilliant diet because of budget. So we're not all the same. We're not all able to afford masses of fruits and vegetables. If money is an issue for you, it's really important that we're even more savvy with how we eat. So we need to be really careful with how we are effectively fueling ourselves, and also careful of things like cooking things, using frozen foods, using tinned fruits and vegetables to kind of help us get a nutritious diet. We have got some money saving tips on our website and some links to kind of help you out with how you can eat better whilst on a budget. So let's talk about some facts. So first of all, eating well is about having a range of balanced foods, okay? We shouldn't be cutting anything out. Our diet is made up of things such as things called macronutrients. These are our carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Each of them have a role within our body, and it's very important that we do use them. So carbohydrates help fuel our body and help give us energy. Fats help give us energy, and also they help break down some of our vitamins, which can help with things like hormonal regulation, help our hair and nails to be strong. And protein helps maintain our muscle mass and helps us have repair of the muscle mass. It's important that we don't cut any of these out, and sometimes we feel like we should because of pressures of the media, of popular diets, so things like carbohydrates. So carbohydrates was advised to be cut out or ate in moderation. It is really important to note that if you eat any of those macronutrients in excessive amounts, you will put weight on anyways. So it's not about eating too many carbohydrates will make you put weight on, or eating too many fats make you put weight on. If you eat too much fats, you put weight on. If you eat too much protein, you put weight on. If you eat too much carbohydrates, you put weight on either way. Okay, so that's why it's really important to have a balanced diet. And like I said, we do have a role in our body. There's certain foods that can help our concentration and moods. These are things that have got a really high in omega-3 fatty acids. There's a lot of research out there to say that it's really important that we have a diet that has omega-3 into it. So these are things like our leafy greens, oily fish, and lots of pulses, so they can help us concentrate. I'm going to talk really quickly about mindful eating. Now, in our books, we do usually say little and often meals work best, but it is very different for each person. So each person has what works best for them. You might find that you only need to eat 3 times a day. You might find that you need to eat 8 times a day to be satisfied. We need to be in tune with our body's hunger cues, and we need to know what our body needs. So we need to listen to our body. It's very hard to do in this day-to-day society because we do have rigid schedules. So we do tend to have breakfast, lunch and dinner, although not right now because we're in lockdown. So we have breakfast, lunch, dinner, if you're like anybody else. But that's more boredom rather than actual hunger. So if you listen to your body, be aware of your hunger cues. These are things like lacking in concentration, feeling tired, feeling fatigued, and then finally your belly will rumble as well. Think of that as your last hunger cue. Usually your belly only rumbles when you are really at the point of no return of hunger. It is something that we don't really focus on, and like I said, we do tend to eat in our regimented schedules, but food is fuel and it should be fueling our body. We shouldn't be using it as something to comfort ourselves with. I'll talk about that in more detail in a little bit. So hydration. Hydration for each person is slightly different. Now, the NHS recommends that you should have 1.5 litres to 2 litres a day of water, but everybody is different. What we advise is that you drink until you feel hydrated. Again, be aware of what your dehydration signs are. So these are things like having a dark coloured urine, having headaches, lacking in concentration and being fatigued. If you notice those sort of signs, then you know that you need to drink more. Drink plenty, drink anything counts towards your hydration levels, by the way, so it doesn't matter if it's tea or coffee, or if it's flavoured water, all of that does count towards your water intake for the day. but drink everything in what you need for. So think about what does your body need and drink it. This is the same for calories. So a calorie allowance is recommended from the NHS as 2,000 calories a day for women or 2,500 calories a day for men. Everybody is slightly different. Calorie allowances go on your height, your weight, your energy levels, your age, your gender. So depending on all of these things, this is how your calorie intake is determined. You might not need 2,000 calories a day. You might need more than 2,000 calories a day. And for instance, our bodies are really amazing things. They do certain things. So for instance, in women, we actually have a higher intake of calories, or we need a higher intake of calories when we are in our ovulation period, or we need lower intake when we're actually in our menstruation period as well. So everything's slightly different. You should listen to your body and get in touch with those hunger signals and try and decide how many calories you want. You can also use calculators that can help you to control your calorie intake or know how many calories your body needs a day. Okay, so it's often easy to know what we should eat. So all of us know what we need to eat to be healthy. All of us know what we need to all of us know what certain foods are important for us. I'll just pause the video there just a second while the barking. Okay, perks of recording outside. You get to hear the dogs barking. So so it's often easy for us to know what we should be eating, but then stuff comes along that makes us overeat or triggers us to comfort eat, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Sometimes we use food as a tool for emotions rather than using it as fuel. And that's quite common for most people. So we have triggers of unhealthful eating patterns. What I want you to think about now is what kind of triggers off you eating emotionally. Is this something like boredom? Is it something like your emotions? Do you get sad so you eat more? And the car has come to join in. So do you comfort eat when you're feeling tired? What sort of things make you eat unhealthily? Also, as well, the things that you can think about is there certain events that happen? So, for instance, do you have a routine that after work on, say, a Friday night, you grab yourself a bottle of wine and a pizza, because that's what your normal routine is? Is that eating making you trigger off, eat unhealthily? It might not be that that's unhealthy for you, but it might be that it's becoming more of a routine and you don't want to do it. Also, as well, things like Christmas, it's a very classical event where we tend to overeat or comfort eat in large amounts, and these sort of things happen. And it's okay, we can just go on with our day knowing that, but we might want to make allowances for that to happen. It's again depending on what your body is. Okay, so if we notice what's affecting us, we're more able to change it and we're more likely to So if we're able to notice what's affecting us, we're able to make changes to it. And that's where our next tool comes in. So this is called an emotional food diary, and we do have it on our website, so you can download it so that you can see how to fill one in. Basically, this emotional food and well-being diary is not about tracking our calorie intake or tracking what we eat day to day. This is about tracking our emotions and how it affects our eating pattern. So things that we would ask you is, when did you overeat? Where were you at and what time was it? What were you doing? How did you feel before you overate, and who were you with? Was there any sort of triggers? Because sometimes when we can eat unhealthily when we're with certain people. How did you feel? What were you feeling like during and after the eating pattern? And what was it that you ate and drank? So there might be certain foods that maybe trigger you off eating unhealthily. Once we're able to be aware of these times, we're able to take control of this and make changes to it. Again, we might need to have a look at some of our emotional well-being before we're able to take control of our eating. So, top 10 tips. Write down things that affect your food pattern. Using the diary or using a piece of paper, whatever works for you. Make changes to the things that affect your food pattern. Once you've identified them, then we need to make changes, but they need to be sustainable. So have a look at our making changes session to make sure that you have made sustainable changes. Talk to somebody about your problems. How do you feel? If you are emotionally unwell and if you're not happy and in a good place, then tackling your food pattern right now might not be the best idea. Try to eat less salt and cut down on sugary foods. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables. So eating between 5 and 7 fruit and vegetables a day, and that can be frozen or canned fruit and vegetables as well. It doesn't just have to be fresh fruit and vegetables, but just be aware some of them can be preserved in sugary substances. But if that's all we can afford, then we need to do it to be able to eat in moderation, eat a balanced diet. Eat foods that will boost your mood. So look at some omega-3 sources and have a look and see if there's anything that you enjoy on there that you can help boost your mood. Keep active as much as possible and drink plenty of water. See you again.